disappointment after that one? What did you feel really let you down across the night?
The basic fundamentals. Collingwood were cleaner, tougher on the ground. They absorbed the ball well. They put enormous pressure. That was really efficient. We couldn't fight our way through it. In the air, they were really predictable. 1 to 11 contested marks, a pretty telling story. So that's an area we've got to work on. We've got to said that to the players. Get back in on Monday and get to work.
You're disappointed with the pressure you guys applied after quarter time, just in that first patch of the second quarter when Collingwood got on top?
Yeah, that's probably, and then we rectified that in the back of the second quarter and actually got back in the game. Yeah, our games swing a lot with what pressure we can put on the opposition. Whether that's defensively to force them long down the line, not take marks, or if we're in a scramble type situation to actually put enormous heat on them. And then when we did that, they absorbed better, they got through us, and then we ramped it up and started to get some ascendancy back towards the back end of the second, but just couldn't do it for long enough.
Seemed like you struggled also with their, I suppose, their defensive setup to work your way through that. What can you do to rectify that? What were you trying to do?
Yeah, I thought, some of our decisions and our execution wasn't at the level that it needs to be. But on top of that, so when we go inside 50 to score it, I think we were about 32% inside 50 to their low 50s. And in the second quarter, for the early part of that, they were at about 80%. So, we understand that. First of all, we need to defend our 50 a lot better than what we did. And then when we get the opportunity to go forward, we need to play to our principles, which allow us to have more efficiency when we do go inside.
Was it a step back tonight in a sense? I mean, you've been building a little bit for the last couple of weeks, or are you just at that point, given the unavailability of a lot of players, where it's going to be a bit hanging there for the next few weeks?
Yeah, it's probably a little step backwards. One thing we always want to pride ourselves on is to always be in the contest and the chance to give ourselves every opportunity to win a game of footy. But one thing I've always done is I've said the players that represent the club, no matter what the name tag suggests, we need to play our way and play to a system that requires us to give ourselves the best chance. And some of the kids are learning their way through that. Some of our experienced players need to help them a little bit more through that by performing the way that we know they have in the past.
Has that message been put to them in terms of put it on the leaders to stand up a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's the first part anyone sort of goes to is, the leaders and senior players. You can't rely on the kids to get it done. They've got to lead the right way, and that starts Monday when we get back training.
Joel Marty's injury, what's the status there?
Yeah, so he'll have scans on his, obviously, hamstring. The severity we need to find out. So that wasn't certainly ideal. He's been pretty consistent for us, and very unfortunate for him that he's another soft tissue. We've got to work through and support him.
How much of a run does Logan need, do you think, to get in?
We had a VFL bye this week, so they'll have a big session back home. The one game last week and then this one, we'll have to discuss that when we get back early in the week about what it looks like with him ahead of the ball as well.
Dean, from a coaching perspective, how did you assess the games of Grundy, Rowbottom and also James Jordan's role on Dacos tonight?
Hi, James and Nick's very, very hard to contain for a long period of time. I think that's why his efficiency on the game. That's probably one thing you got to try and cut out when you're playing on Nick. Didn't help as well at times when we, don't absorb and allow him to get into that free-flowing part of the game as well. So, that's always hard. James is always fierce around the contest, but we got beaten at the centre bounce, which is get some field position and some ascendancy that way. So, we need to make sure that we address that. And, Brodie's, some of his scramble stuff and contest work was at a level, and then inconsistent in some other areas, like all of our players tonight.